Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Eye on Icon, and with me, as always now, Digital Dave. How are you, man?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How have you been? We haven't spoke in a while.
It's been so long. We shouldn't just speak during these episodes. Come on, man. No, doing well, man. Doing well. Look, today, what we're going to do, it's not so much a weekly news, but it's kind of a bit of a mashup. We have seen this excellent KuCoin listing along with the promo kickoff,
Mm,
which has exploded our followers. I think the Icon Foundation handle's gone from 160,000 to 185, 186 now.
yeah.
Yeah, and Discord's gone from 5,000 to now 24,000.
hmm
So with all these new members, fingers crossed, the actual people. Come on. We thought let's do a quick episode where we overview the what Icon is, blockchain as a blockchain, the dApps that are built on the Icon blockchain, and then let's break down. After that, let's just break down a couple of big topics that have happened in the last 2 weeks, which is Havah and Parameta. I think those are two things I'm keen to talk about. So we'll save that for the end of the episode after the system blockchain overview, so that if you're familiar with Icon, you can just skip to the part, use the timestamps that stick to the part that you're really interested in because you've been in the ecosystem for ages and you want Havah and Parameta broken down. Thoughts on that, Digital Dave?
I love it. I love it. So we're doing a small ecosystem highlights, is it?
Yep.
And then just some news.
Yep. Let's do it. Okay, first up, Icon. Let's just talk Icon, okay? So,
Right.
if welcome, and if you are new, best place to get started is the icon.community website, especially under the, where is it? Resources, that's right. So there's a learn section where you can learn a ton of information about Icon, a blog section. But overall, Icon is a proof of stake chain. It at the moment, if you stake ICX, that's how you secure the chain. You can pick a bunch of validators. I won't go too much into which validator you pick, but you pick a bunch of validators, and at the moment you're getting a staking APY of 7.88%. Anything else you want to add to that, David?
No, that's what you do. You stake, you vote, and you receive staking rewards.
Excellent. Look, the other parts, so Icon, connecting blockchains and communities. Icon's whole goal is to be revolved around interoperability. So in the background, while at the moment there's dApps and stuff building on Icon in the background, they're finalizing the Icon bridge and BTP tech that will connect to other chains and enable assets to move across, like tokens and many other things where dApps of other chains and our chain can integrate the infrastructure of BTP/Icon Bridge and have them doing unique things like the call services and stuff interchain. So very terrible overview, but that's in the sense what Icon is about. It's all about interoperability. And yeah, what else have I missed? Some of the
Well,
partners.
there's a common starting point in venturing into the Icon ecosystem, and that would be to set yourself up with a wallet where you can actually hold your tokens and your NFTs and whatnot. And the current preferred wallet in the Icon ecosystem is called Hana wallet. And as we're talking about this, you're showing where to get the wallet in the Chrome extension store. But what we'll also do is just link to a video you've done earlier
Mm.
on how to actually set up a HANA wallet and to get started, because that's what you'll be using to actually venture into the decentralized applications that we'll be mentioning next.
Yep, exactly. There, you start off with HANA. You can buy it on various exchanges, ICX that is. Now, part of that interoperability at the moment, we've got Binance Smart Chain, Near, Moonbeam, Algorand, Harmony, and Ethereum as well on the card. So those are all the chains that will be enabled, connected to Icon Bridge / BTP. And finally, one other part I wanted to talk about was what's really cool about Icon. If you're building or wanting to do something for Icon, it has got what we call the contribution proposal system, currently going to be renamed, but CPS. What it is essentially a portion of inflation. So Icon's token proof of stake, so the inflation is around 4% a year, and I forget how much of that 4%, it escapes me just for a moment, but yes, so of that 4%, 77% of inflation goes to pay for the stakers. So when you vote and you get that 7%, that's where that inflation pays for it. 13% of it goes to validators as rewards, so that they can pay for the nodes and do a bit of building and stuff in the background with the little bit of extra funding they would get. And the final 10% goes to which is CPS. So everyday inflation goes into CPS, and if you have a proposal, you can create, if you want to build, if you want to do make videos, if you want to make content, if you want to market, whatever you want to do, as long as it's helping the chain, you can put together a proposal with how much money you want and need to get it done, and then the validators will vote on it every 15 days to go, yes, we like this, and let's use some of the CPS treasury. So if you go here, it'll load you to a site, and you can see currently the treasury has 119,000. And remember, this changes every day because there's more inflation going in, but at the same time, the projects that are currently in flight would get their grants paid out every month. So what's cool about this is it's completely decentralized, as in inflation automatically routes as long as the validators approve it and the builders submit their monthly reports on progress, they will get paid out. They can't, no one can stop funding. It's built into the chain. It's built into inflation. That's what the beautiful part about it.
Yeah, and it's different as opposed to the most of the grant programs out there. There is no single entity deciding who gets money to build. The Icon network is paying for this, and the Icon network is decentralized. So how are these decisions being made? Well, as you remember, we mentioned about 5 minutes ago, Icon holders, they will stake their Icon token and they will vote, and you're voting for validators who secure and validate the blockchain, and these validators also have a say into who gets paid here. So essentially, it's a democratic system, as you will. We vote for our validators, the ones we like or we think align with our beliefs for the Icon blockchain, and then they go ahead and vote on the distribution of this of these grants. And as you can see now, this is currently what's being voted on.
There you go. And you can see then some of these are pending active. Some of these are the active proposals currently in flight and the various budgets. So it's a cool system. It is constantly being improved, and a great time, regardless of the markets, a great time to always be building or doing something in the Icon ecosystem. So now that you have a bit of an overview of what the chain is and some of its unique features, let's dive into some of the core dapps that run on the chain, because I don't know about you, Digital Dave, like when I go to a new chain, it's like, oh god, where do I start? And you
Absolutely.
go to all the yield site, the DApp, radar, etc. But just sometimes it's like, I wish I could talk to an guy who's been dealing with the ecosystem for a while, and they just give me all the alpha, and I can then follow.
Yeah. Ideally, I would venture into a new blockchain and just put me in a room with the most engaged community member in there, and let him or her talk to me for 3 hours straight, and I can absorb it all. Instead, indeed, I have to go to Dap Radar or DeFi Llama and look at these lists. And I'm unsure. Twitter isn't always helpful.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Oh yes. So that's what this is about. Okay, so let's dive in. So first things first, one of the first dapps to launch on Icon was Balanced, and it's balanced.network. Now, what is Balanced, David? I'll talk to you.
It's my finance hub for the Icon network, and it's the platform that I started using when it first launched, and I still use it daily. They've recently pushed through a lot of cool updates again, so I think we should just talk about its core functionalities and what it can do for a user.
Yeah, agree. So look, Balanced, Balance is a cross, okay? If you think MakerDAO or synthetics, but I think MakerDAO is more relevant. With MakerDAO that runs on Ethereum, it mints the stablecoin known as DAI. Everyone in crypto, if you're familiar with that, you'll know that. The Balance uses the same concept, except it uses ICX to mint a stablecoin called BNUSD. Okay, and but it takes it a step above. Like, it can in the future be used to mint any kind of assets with any type of assets. So that's where there's sometimes you'll see terminology synthetic assets. But overall, the stablecoin of the ecosystem for Icon is BNUSD. We have a few other stablecoins bridged over, but we won't talk about those for the moment. BNUSD, because you've got to lock up 4 times the amount of ICX to mint one stablecoin, $1 worth of BNUSD, and Balanced enables you to do that. And at the same time, the next part of it is it's a Uniswap. So it's an automated market maker. It has an automated market maker attached to it where you can trade the various tokens on the Icon ecosystem and some of the bridged assets currently that are bridged across via Orbit Bridge. So it's twofold. It's been merged into one application, and that's what Balanced is. What have I missed?
Perfectly said. If I can summarize it in one line, I would say Balanced is the home of BNUSD, which is the Icon ecosystem stablecoin, and the current go-to decentralized exchange for swapping around any token that is active in the Icon ecosystem and supplying liquidity if you feel like doing so, and receiving your trading fees and possible incentivized rewards there as well. That's all that Balanced can do for you.
Yep, and it also has its own token, the Balance token. Won't get too much. There's a few upgrades coming, but one of the best parts about the token and its utility is if you stake it, you earn a portion of the network fees from loan. When people lock up ICX and mint BNUSD, they charge a 1% one-time fee on the loan. That a portion of that goes to the DAO, and then if you're staking, if you own the token, you get a portion of that and the DEX fees. So this is where it's kind of unique, because Uniswap and many other DEXs don't actually give you fees for holding the native token, whereas this token actually rewards you in that way. So the bigger the protocol gets, if you have the token and you have it staked, you're going to earn more of what the revenue the protocol generates. So yeah, I think that's good. David, any closing words on Balance?
Nah, well done. I think everyone is now poised to just visit this website. And if you scroll all the way up, top right, there's a big button there, Go to App. And this dapps, decentralized applications in the Icon ecosystem, are known for their amazing usability. So you will dive in here. You will not get lost. It is so well designed. And that's always been one of the core drivers. So as a new user, once you're familiar with the outside and you venture in, you'll not be disappointed.
Yep, and as you can see, I've given a bit of a tease, but yeah, it's very simple to use, and I've got some tutorials around it as well. So okay, let's move on. So that's one of the core foundational DeFi apps. The next foundational DeFi app, which is a money market similar to Aave and Compound. So it is where you can list these stable coins or ICX. You can supply it, and as long as on the other side people want to borrow the assets to do something, you'll earn interest. So if you aren't familiar with it, that's what Ohm is. Now this is the other core DeFi protocol on Icon, and obviously again it has a native token that lets it do its own set of unique things. But you can see over here, I'm just scrolling through the website. Anything you want to add to that, David?
No, I'd say Ohm in relation to Balanced is a DeFi app indeed. It's more simple in its use case, but it does something that Balanced cannot do. It's borrowing and lending any asset that is listed. So on Ohm, you can head in and you might have Balanced dollars, you might have Ohm token itself, or you might even have your Icon token, and you could just lend it out, receive whatever supply APY is on offer. It is incentivized with additional Ohm platform tokens, and that helps you calculate your return. So it's borrowing and lending, which is a huge part of any DeFi ecosystem. So it's a real foundational, important dApp, and you can choose to go here and work around Ohm as opposed to balance if you want to do such things.
Yeah, and here you can see I've just got it open. So some of the markets, like on Aave, how it has all these different tokens. On Icon, it's got Icon, then it's got Stably USDS, which is another stable coin. This is not a bridge stable coin. It is a stable coin where you can use the Stably website and deposit via an American bank account US dollars, and it will mint it on the Icon blockchain. So a cool way to get on and off without exchanges. And then you got IUSDC, which is a bridged USDC stablecoin, and then balance dollars, etc. Now, one of the other things, like, I won't go into the tokenomics of Ohm, but the way the distribution has happened. So if you're wondering, oh, but how are these protocols tokens being distributed? Most of the protocols we're going to show you today, the distribution process has actually happened to the users. So from the day it launches, it has emitted tokens to liquidity providers and people who are actually using the protocol, and it tapers off after some balance has 60 days for Ohm. It's every year it tapers off until it sets up to like 2% inflation, etc. So what's cool about Ohm is it's got this little button here. So if you tick it on, you can see in many cases with Ohm, just very quickly. So if you mint BNUSD, you bring it over here and supply it at the moment, you're getting around 4% APY interest, okay, just for supplying BNUSD. You don't have to do anything. There's no risk associated with that apart from smart contract risk, which is every protocol on any chain. But then what's cool here, they're distributing, if you borrow, it looks like you're getting paid to actually borrow balance dollars, USDC, USDS, even ICX. So it's interesting time to be in the Icon ecosystem where you are getting paid in the sense that you'll get rewarded with Ohm tokens for borrowing. So that's where when you put this button on, it tells you kind of what APR you will get. If it's purple, it means you're actually paying that. But in this case, you can see most of the assets are green, which is you're getting paid, which is pretty cool. Anything else to add with Ohm?
Not at all.
No. Cool. Okay, let's move along now. Craft. Okay, so NFT marketplace is Craft, the go-to marketplace on Icon. Now, this enables you can mint NFTs, sell, go, buy a lot of different projects. You can see some of the Yeti Strong Club, Gangster Bet, Claws. Well, some of them aren't. We got Studio Mirai. So a ton of stuff here. If you're into NFTs, this is a platform you want to check out. There is another NFT platform, NFT Bazaar. That's right? Yeah, NFT Bazaar.
Correct.
Yeah. So there are two of them. This is that foundational platform. What's cool about this, you can see I have a little bit of craft here and some ICX connected in this wallet. As creators or users who buy and sell NFTs, you get rewarded the protocol token, which you can stake to earn revenue off the protocol. So a lot of the Icon ecosystem tokens are designed in this way to reward users with the distribution, and then the users can stake and earn a portion of the fees the protocol generates. So pretty cool. Anything you want to cover off, Digital Day?
Well, in terms of uniqueness, obviously there's NFT marketplaces in all blockchains that we know. NFTs are massively big. The value proposition of Icon blockchain as a whole is its interconnectivity and the way that it is going to act as a hub connecting multiple blockchains. Now, Craft is positioned on Icon with that same vision. So their plan is to do something that you don't often see as much. It is to be able to transfer your NFTs cross blockchains. So as a marketplace, they're positioned to rapidly grow and expand. And it would be the dream, as you can see now, these top collections. There's a bunch of good collections getting launched and selling out on Icon. You will be able to to move your NFTs around and to house them on our different connected blockchains. And I think Craft is quite unique in that value proposition. And on top of that, as you mentioned, their system where they reward buying and selling with their token. This is something that they did nearly upon launch, I'd say. And is it being copied by other marketplaces on other blockchains, or are they reinventing the wheel themselves? I don't know, but you see it more and more now, and it's good to know that Craft did this from the get go, like their community first.
Yeah. No, that's a big highlight. All of them, and some of them are still so balanced isn't emitting as much. You still get balance, but I guess the emissions are still quite high for Ohm and Craft. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we have Optimus Finance. Now, Optimus Finance is a yield aggregator like Yearn or various other different Harvest Finance, things like that are on Ethereum, which is Optimus is Icon specific. So obviously we've talked through Balanced and Ohm. Each of them have like I showed you one of them where you can lend and borrow. With Balanced, you can, if you borrow money, if you mint BNUSD, I mean, or supply liquidity to certain LPs, you get the Balanced token, which you then have to go and claim every day, etc. So Optimus is being built that automates this entire process. So for Balance, for example, it allows you to borrow and take out a loan so that you can mine the Balance token, but it will automatically, based on market conditions, pay back your loan or take out as much as possible, keeping your assets safe from liquidation. So it's not just about generating yield of LPs. It has various strategies that manage borrowing and LPs haven't come yet, and various other uniqueness areas of the Icon ecosystem where and what I mean by that is Ohm. So the native token Ohm has the ability you can pick validators you want ICX to get delegated to. So Optimus has a strategy around that, which I'm going to cover in a separate tutorial. So I didn't want to break each of the strategies up in this review. But overall, it's a yield aggregator for the various DeFi protocols on Icon. But it won't stop there. I think this is what Digital Dave was highlighting earlier. A lot of these foundational dapps in the background, as BTP starts to launch an Icon bridge, will start utilizing what they do on Icon for various dapps on other chains.
Indeed. And this is Optimus sits on top of the DeFi ecosystem on Icon, where you could view Balanced and Ohm, which we've just mentioned. You could view them as building blocks for any finance strategy that you as a user would like to apply. You can borrow on one and lend it out on the other. It's all up to you. But what Optimus does is it has automated the most common strategies that often give you a slightly higher yield. And all you have to do as a user is visit Optimus. You could deposit your ICX right there, and they do the work for you. They manage your position for you, and they might even use several platforms to do so. So Optimus is... I like using Optimus. I think it's a lazy man's DeFi. I deposit my ICX, I pick a strategy, and I never look back.
Yeah, no, it's great. And more strategies are about to launch. So early on Ohm, you heard us talk about where you supply your stable coins and you can borrow. They've actually built some strategies to capitalize on that, so you don't have to keep watching anything. It just automates it. Although in stablecoin, I guess deep pegging issues, let's not get into that. Okay, next up, one of the oldest dapps on the books is ICONbet. ICONbet is, I haven't looked at this in a while, but it's pretty cool. It's basically a casino. Again, distribution process, like it's the players own the casino. Most of the tokens were distributed to people who actually went and played the games. And then whatever the casino makes, a percentage of its profits is distributed to the holders, the token holders. So that's one aspect, which is cool about ICONbet. It has a ton of different games that you can go and play. The other part of it, the way ICONbet works is the system is set up. if you're a dev or someone who wants to build a game, you don't have to be on the team. You can go build your game and actually launch it on ICONbet and just be part of the model, where then the same users will come play your game and you get a percentage, a large chunk of the rewards that your games generate. You get that, but a portion of it goes to all the tap holders, which is the native token of ICONbet. Anything else to add here?
No, perfectly said. I was going to add the part where indeed external developers could just come in and launch their games on this platform, and you mentioned that. So,
Yeah.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah.
You're now showing the way that the native tap token will award holders with casino profits. Is it?
That's right. So, look, and this is the thing now. There's no, I think Chap's done. It's been distributed, from what I understand. So there's no more distribution, but everything is on chain, right? So you can see how much a casino is making and how much will go distributed. And look, it depends on when the markets. I generally have noticed ICONbet seems to pick up a lot in bear markets because. Value has dropped and it supports the native token, so people are a bit more freer with the token. But yeah, look, overall, it's one of the oldest dapps. It really, when people were building the foundational DeFi apps, this was live and keeping the chain busy, so we owe a lot to ICONbet. And if you enjoy a gamble, not that we encourage it or support it or anything like that, not financial advice.
Be responsible.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next up. So now we've touched on a few of the dapps. I just want to highlight one of the cool other dapps that run on Icon is Project Nebula. This is actually a play-to-earn game where you can, in space. This is kind of like a game where you have your spaceship. Where's my spaceship? Here. And you can fly. You have fuel and various aspects, and you go exploring. You find planets like over here. And when you go into the ecosystem, you can buy, if they haven't been claimed already, you can upgrade the planets and upgrade your ship, the kind of research and stuff it does. So very cool, a bit different. So if you're into play to earn and things like that, and you enjoy playing games like that, this is one of those blockchain games. It's been running a while. The team keep upgrading it with new features and expansions and active development happening for this game. So definitely one to check out. Anything, David?
I like playing this game. I venture into galaxies where I think no one's been before, only to realize that I'm never the first explorer and I'm looking for planets. And I've got lucky once now.
Yeah. Oh, you have? You found a planet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I found a few, I must say. So yeah, I got in at the start, but they're different gens, and so they may release sectors that haven't been released yet, which
indeed.
has happened. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So there's that. I think that's an overview of the dapps. That's done. So now we'll transition into a bit of the news format, but we won't go through everything. We just kind of want to tackle three things. But before we do that, one other thing we should cover, David, is, so if you're new to Icon, one of the other things Icon has going on, which is a side sister chain, which is called ICE. Now, there is a chain that is being built as a Parachain, and so there's two, ICE and Snow, because one connects to Kasuma, one connects to Polkadot, and the team is actively building this, and it will be deployed with the connection to Icon via BTP. And the goal here is to make this like the dApp destination for Solidity and builders building in that language. They can deploy it on Ice and Snow, which is connected to BTP and automatically connected to obviously all the parachains in the Polkadot ecosystem, and then all the BTP enabled chains that you heard us talk about earlier. So this is also on the cards, and it is imminent. The launching of these chains, well, especially the Snow chain, is going to be happening, well, according to the roadmap, in August, I believe. So this is very much part of the Icon ecosystem. They are separate chains, separate validators, everything. But what's cool about it is shipping, and it's going to be BTP enabled right from the start.
Yeah, and if you think that that's hard to follow, you can visit the website icenetwork.io. And if you just scroll up there and hit the resources button and go to the blog, you'll find pieces explaining exactly what this is, how it's been set up. You'll find a roadmap. You'll find grant programs, testnet announcements. Like, this is full steam ahead.
Yep. Yeah. Well, a lot of transparency from the team as well, so you can see what they're up to and regular updates on things going on. So definitely something to check out. Here's the Miles quarterly roadmap I was talking about earlier. But yeah, part of the ecosystem. And finally as well, one of the new protocols that will be launching in July on Icon is Karma Finance. Now, it's CPS funded, but it's basically protocol owned liquidity, so it will be kind of like the Olympus, the original that launched on Ethereum, which was a reserve currency, but on the other side, it enabled protocol owned liquidity where users could sell their LPs for a bond discounted token, which was released as a bond that matured over 5 days, and then could sell it off at a profit, so they get it at 10% discount. It kind of enabled it will enable all these protocols to buy back its liquidity and control it, so that users, based on market conditions, can't remove liquidity from the LP pools and then make the assets more volatile. So excited for this to be launching in July as well. I think that's that. Now, news, yes. So we're going to cover 2 bits of information today, and it may be quite brief. So we've had 2 big pieces drop. One is Paramata, which is Icon Loop, talking about the SDK. Now, we've covered this a few times. However, I've heard there's been a lot of back and forth in the community, and I just thought me and Digital Dave will share our views on it. But overall, with the Paramata news, I'm going to work with the foundation to get someone from Icon Loop on the show so we can interview them and ask them a lot of questions and get the latest and greatest from it. And the next thing we'll talk about is Havah. That changed quick. Okay. And this is cool as well. So we'll come back to that. Let's kick things off with Paramata. So Paramata is basically Icon Loop. Icon Loop is the technical partner for Icon. They're not Icon. They're the builders of chains, right? They build all the tech. Now, they've been in the game for a long time. They've built custom blockchains for private companies. The goal was, the original vision, then to use Icon's chain to connect these private companies, but legislation, stuff like that in the private sector has been quite slow. So that's still on the cards. But Parameta then kind of thought about it and gone, hang on, we've built a custom chain on this technology. It's not a fork in any kind. So what if now we offer this service, we create a set of suite tools that enable any company to launch their own chain that essentially is BTP enabled, etc., etc. But one thing that people need to understand is it's not just public companies. They kind of geared this SDK to anyone and everyone. So it could be like a company that just wants to operate in its own silo and do its own thing and wants to work off this SDK. That's fine. That's a private chain. Off they go. However, it could be, in the case of Havah, which we will touch on, where they wanted to have their own chain that was optimized for all things NFT marketplace, NFT gaming, everything to do with NFT. So essentially, the Parameta Icon Loop, they use Parameta and they're launching their own chain that is just specifically optimized for that, which will be BTP enabled, which means it'll connect to Icon and then connect to all the chains Icon's connected to. So in this case, it's NFT optimized and all about NFTs. So it would look to bridge NFTs from Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and whatever other chains are connected to BTP. David, I'll stop. I talk a lot. You got to tell me to shut up. What are your thoughts on Parameta?
I think it's I hadn't seen this webpage yet. It's the next step, is it, in what we've referred to before as the Icon SDK. It might be a term that people hear getting thrown around a lot. I had to Google it the very first time. It simply stands for Software Development Kit. So the Icon SDK would be a toolkit or a collection of tools that help you set up your blockchain, and basically having it be icon ready. And this is something very valuable because it just shows that, other parties can come in on their own merit, in their own time, with their own financing, and they will build whatever project they want to build, and it will be icon ready, so it can run with Icon's BTP, create the transactions that we're looking for, because at the end of the day, we all know the more transactions, the better. So a very good step in the right direction. And this webpage, really good job at kind of explaining it all.
Yep, and you can see they've used so that's great, and this is one of the biggest call outs as well. It is. So I've seen people in the community members concerned. Oh, so is it essentially shipping like what is it doing? What Icon does with BTP? I think there's a slight variation there. So again, I'll use this private business example. If I have like 3 different businesses, okay, and they're bound by legislation and etc., and I need to have a lot. I want to run it off these SDKs, so 3 separate chains, and I don't. The data that is on these chains, they cannot be made public or be on any public spotlight, and they'll never connect to any other external systems, okay? But I need these 3 chains connecting to each other. Now, these companies can go to Icon Loop and go, yep, we want to use your SDK and we want to use your bridging technology between these 3 chains. And from what I understand, this is what the Parameta use case is, and they could build it and deliver it to those businesses, and they connect. It has nothing to do with Icon, right? They're using the same tech. Then, on the flip side, just like Havah has, and that's a great example, they wanted a NFT chain. They used the SDK. Basically, it's the Icon chain just optimized for NFTs, and with BTP enabled on it because it's the Icon chain. But it will still connect to Icon, and everything we know about Icon and how the bridge works, and for BTP 2.0, the light clients and everything. If you've read the paper, that happens on Icon, right? The Icon is optimized for that. Havah isn't going to be optimized on that level. It is basically with the BTP contracts that connect to Icon, because Havah's goal is the NFT games marketplace and all things NFT. They don't want their TPS, their processing power, all of that going to, maintaining verification of BTP transactions. That's what Icon is there for. And this is kind of the difference here. And I was making sure. This is my understanding from several conversations. I've got confirmation that this is the case, and this is exactly what Havah was founded for, and kind of highlights. So yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah, I think it embodies the transition that Icon Loop as technical partner has been making as well, where they kicked off as an enterprise partner, which is something that they still do, but they've also made the conscious decision to enter the NFT game because they see that that's where future value lays. And that's what we're seeing right here. So they are diversifying their offering, and at the end of the day, it's benefiting the Icon ecosystem massively.
Yeah, exactly. And so another comparison is, in this case, what you're seeing happening here is kind of like that Cosmos evolution, right? Like if you ship with the Cosmos SDK and then you enable IBC, you can then bridge your assets. So this is kind of what is happening here with Icon. So Cosmos has a good example of, there's a chain called Osmosis, right? And this chain is basically a DEX. That's all that runs on this chain. It's an entire blockchain that runs automated market maker. And that's what it does. So we could see something like that pop up. Someone goes, yep, let's use the Parameta SDK. Let's build a chain that is strictly. I'm not saying this is happening. I haven't got inside alpha. I'm just saying and it automatically connects to BTP, and it could be the central destination for the different ecosystem assets. I've seen some videos that may imply some of that, but things like that can happen. Yes, Icon has its own DEX balance. But what about balance? No, you got to think big picture, right? So once chains just start to pop up with this SDK, and then Icon's got it keeps getting connected to all the other chains, because as we know, BTP is a bit of a plug and play system. Once the smart contracts are built, more chains can adopt it, just tweak what's needed and integrate it into their chains. Then they have a whole wide variety of chains they can access. And so I expect this to constantly evolve. I see this as nothing but a good thing. Yes, in the private side, if it's beneficial for Icon Loop. They spent so many years building and optimizing, and with the Icon 2.0 migration, so it's great that they're using these tools to kind of even sell to the private sector if they need to. Now, in my example, I keep avoiding, there could be the private sector that deploys like my ID and stuff that wants to then use a public chain for certain data, for example, and that's where they would be BTP enabled and connect to the public chain. So it's just, as soon as they're using the tech, the ability for them to connect to the outside world if they choose to, for certain bits of information, as more chains connect to Icon, etc., becomes, if they want to, it becomes irresistible, right? It's just enabling the chain because it's already built into the SDK. Yeah. That's what's cool about it. So don't get worried. I think big picture, this is fantastic. The more SDKs get out there, the better it's going to be for Icon overall. And some of the first use cases we're seeing already complement Icon, our chain, which is fantastic. David, anything?
No, I love how you wrap that up. I was wondering, low-key, what's our next news?
Well, look, I think that's all I wanted to cover. So I think those are the two big items. Like, what else is there? What, I'm trying to think. Yes, I know Icon Bridge hasn't launched yet. We don't have a date. I know we're aware there's ongoing testing happening. So I guess a bit of news on that front. Yes, if you're not aware, Harmony had a huge hack, $100 million. Okay, so there's a lot happening with the markets. The market's shrinking. A lot of chains that have been approving a lot of money, grants, or just kind of ridiculous funds that they've had, have started to scale back, or in many cases pause their grants because they need to reevaluate and make sure that they are doing everything they can to prep if there is going to be a long bear market, given what's happening. So Harmony had a bridge to use their own bridge to Ethereum and a few other things, and basically got hacked for $100 million. So, and this literally happened on the eve of the final testing for Icon Bridge. So naturally, when something like this happens, it is very responsible for the team to go, hey, hold up, what's happened here? Let's get some reports and cross-check to make sure, we're not vulnerable in any of those cases. So, I get it. I get the community's frustration, but I also call out that don't stress. Like, extra steps are being taken here just to make sure that the bridge is safe and secure to use, and protected against most of the known vulnerabilities that we've seen happen in existing bridge sets. So, I guess that's the other little bit of tidbit news.
Definitely.
The other thing, yes, me and Digital Dave are going to come back and do a special episode around the Parachain auctions. I think, as we talked about here, the iSense node is crucial to the Icon ecosystem to have a BTP-enabled chain launch, and especially app builders, if they find it easier to build in the native, EVM compatibility chain, this will be the go-to chain. So I think it's crucial for everyone new and all our existing members to kind of understand how the Parachain auction system works, and how you can actually get a good return. Right, David? I think from looking at some of the Parachain auctions that have happened and secured, some of these people who locked up their KSM and DOT got some insane APRs on
Absolutely.
their timeframe.
The winner out there being Moon River, and we must have heard of Moon River.
Yeah.
If you've heard of Moonbeam, you've heard of Moon River. And the way that works is it's essentially the same blockchain, the same parachain, but Moon River plugged into Kusama as a parachain, and probably a couple of months later, Moonbeam plugged into Polkadot as a parachain. And as they had to go through these slot auctions, they gave out their native token as a reward for you delegating your dot or Kusama token and voting for them to get that slot. Now those rewards worked out at like, and these are before crash numbers, but they were sitting at like 400% return. Like people who, who got a bag of Moon River tokens handed to them for locking up their Kusama later on were in the position to sell those at a massive profit, or I don't know, stake them in Moon River DeFi, whatever they had going on. But that's something to look at, because you don't lose your Kusama tokens when you participate in a crowd loan auction. You delegate them, you lock them up for up to 48 weeks. Now that is long, that's nearly a whole year, but you don't lose them. And in the meanwhile, you're getting rewarded with these native platform tokens. If you were in with Moon River, that would have been a good move. I know I wasn't.
No, same. But didn't even understand it. Like I know at the start, just when you heard about the Polkadot ecosystem, and then you're like, Kasuma, and what? So it's the same chain, and you move up. It just doesn't add up because you're not used to it. But
it's hard to understand the entire framework and what it is that they're doing. I think the icenetwork.io website does a good job in explaining the different elements and aspects in their blog and learn sections. So if you kind of venture in there, you get a better idea of what's really happening here. And it's worth learning about it, because once you understand what is happening, you can easily identify where the let's call it lucrative participation is every now and then, because the whole system is based around creating value for Kusama and DOT tokens. People are locking them up for 48 weeks. So those tokens, that's not staking, that's locking. So it's very interesting to learn and read about, and even more interesting that Icon is getting into it, right? Through Ice and Snow, becoming a part of it. So I'll be curious to see how this all pans out in, what would it be, the next 8 weeks?
So look, and I think just what Moon River was an exception. Like people really got good with that.
Absolutely, yes.
But many of the others have given like 50, 60, 70, 20, 30. So
and let's look at Moon River for 1 second. I know we're at the end of this episode, but Moon River came in as a parachain to Kusama with a value proposition that said, look at us, we are EVM compatible, meaning that in the Solidity programming language that is used on the all popular Ethereum, you could use that programming language on Moon River and thus build your dapps in the Polkadot ecosystem. Now, we've got Snow here entering for a parachain slot with that value proposition and more. Snow will be EVM compatible, just like Moon River was, but it also brings BTP interoperability, and it brings the entire Icon community in with it. So it's very interesting to see how Snow will perform and what it can do. Obviously, Moon River has the first mover advantage there. They were the first ones, so that's why they stand out. And that's why a lot of other parachains afterwards came in offering similar value propositions, but performed, not as good in their returns. Still 20-30%, good looking. Now Snow's coming in with that EVM compatibility, and on top of that, of course, the whole Icon ecosystem, blockchain transmission protocol, everything that we talked about prior. So interesting stuff. Would recommend.
And this is what we'll do a separate episode that just breaks it all down, because I think even the first few times someone told me, I was like, what? Until it really clicked why this process is implemented and what it means. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I think that's a great summary. So everyone, if you're new and you stuck around the entire episode, make sure you like, share, subscribe. This is the community podcast to follow if you want to keep up to date with the Icon ecosystem. We do interviews and then weekly updates on the news, although we have missed the last 2 weeks, David. I've gotten slack, sorry. But welcome to
You
the
didn't have to
ecosystem.
say that. You did not have to say that.
Oh, I mean, every week after week, we keep delivering. That's it. Totally covered well. Yeah, look, so welcome to the community. Like, share, subscribe, and definitely if you have questions, Icon Discord, or join the Telegram Iron Icon. If anyone asks questions, I make it a point to answer every one of them. But welcome, and until next time, thanks, Digital Dave.
Thank you.